Hey y'all, and welcome to Demby's Teaching Tips. Today is really going to be for the parents, how to prepare your kids to get ready for school. You got to teach them to sit still, y'all. I'm going to show you some games you can play to help your children sit still and prepare them and be ready for school. All right. Now, one of the things I sure hate to see is when I'm at a restaurant and the parents are sitting at the table and they letting their kids scream and run around and do all kind of crazy stuff, because that's teaching your kids the wrong thing. Now, I'm not going to rant about it because I will normally. I carry on, but you know. Not going to rant about it. But at the dinner table is one of the times when you can actually teach your kids how to sit still, because when they go to school, they can't run around the cafeteria like that. They can't do that at school. So you need to teach them while they're young. Don't let your young children run around the restaurant. Anyway, so one of the things you can practice is while you're sitting at home at the dinner table, practice having them sit still while they're eating. Practice having them talk calmly to one another. Talk softly to each other. Don't all that loud. And then don't take them out. Don't take your kids out to a restaurant until you have practiced it at home and you know that they are ready to handle that kind of environment. So that's the first tip. Sit at home, practice eating dinner together, practice sitting still at dinner, practice talking softly at dinner. And then don't bring them out to a restaurant until your kids have learned and already mastered sitting quiet at home. Because even though the people are laughing and smiling while your kids are yelling, they're not smiling because they're amused with your kids. They're smiling because they're surprised at you, because you are allowing your children to do that. And then you're teaching your kids the totally wrong lesson, because we want to prepare them and have them ready for school. And those kinds of things won't work in a school setting. So practice that. Take that tip. Practice eating dinner together. Tip number one. Tip number two, y'all. Play hide and go seek with your children. That's a good way of teaching your children to sit still, but they don't even know you teaching them. They think you teaching them a game, having a fun game. Play hide and go seek, because then, in order for them not to be found, they have to sit still and quiet. And the longer you can get them to do it, the better. Start out with your counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or you could do, when you counting, you could use your times tables, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, or 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm coming to get you. So that's two ways you can teach them. But play hide and go seek, but then have them sit quiet and act like you can't find them. First, maybe try for like 10, 20 seconds, because I'm sure you can find them. Most times kids hide in the places where you can see them sitting there. But your object to the game is to keep them to sit quiet, and teaching them how to sit quiet and still, not moving. And that's what your object is. So, child, you can have them in, you can see them, but don't point them out. Just be like, I'm looking I can't find them. And then most times they're going to come out and say, I'm right here. But that's not what you want. You want them to try to sit still and quiet until you find them. So, tip number two, Play hide and go seek with your children when you're at home. Tip number 3, y'all. When my children get in trouble, this is what I don't like fuss. I just tell them turn around, watch the clock. And I have one of the clocks on the wall. And they watch the hand just move around. And so I tell them, watch the clock. Sit still, quiet, watch the clock. No talking, no moving, eyes on the clock. And then I pick one of the students that I know ain't gonna do what I told them to do. But if I tell them to watch and tell me how many times the long hand go around, they'll do it. So, but that's what you got to do. When you know you got one defiant student who gonna defy you, you cut them off. So when I say watch the clock, I was like, little Johnny, why don't you watch it? And I want you to be the one to tell me when it get to the 12 2 times. Then we can get up and move again. But right now, we just lost music time. And so since you took my time by talking, I'm going to take your music time by you watching the clock. And so that's what they do. And then if somebody says the I say, I said, little Johnny, tell me who did it. Or tell me what time it was. So that way they'll know. They be like, oh yeah, Mr. Demby making sure I get my chance to say what I want to say. So sometimes little Johnny don't know, and he be done sat there, and the clock done went around 3 times after I said 2, but I don't say nothing. I just give little Johnny the chance to be in charge of the class that one time. So that's another idea you can do. Even at home, parents, let's watch the clock. You know, instead of having time out, have them watch the clock so they can know when, you know, you can set the limit on your time out. When this clock get to the 12 3 times, then you can get up, watch the clock. But you got to sit there and watch it with them, parents. You can't just put them in time out and leave them and you go do what you want to do. I always say, when you punish your children, you have to punish yourself too, because you don't get to do what you want to do. But like when people walk into my classroom and my children is on silent for watching the clock and they come in there talking, I say, I'm sorry, Mr. D, I can't talk right now, y'all, because my children on silent. And if you come in here talking to me, they gonna think they can talk. So, sure don't. So, but anyway, that's another tip you can do. Watch the clock. Clock watch. Now, these last 2 are plugs for my Demby's teaching tip videos. What I use also is the self-control game. And in this game, I use a timer where the kids have 10 seconds to move and dance, shake your sillies out, go crazy. Ooh. The kids have time to go crazy and shake their sillies out. Then I stop and I tell them you gotta freeze, no moving, no blinking. Keep your breathing low if possible. You know, just freeze, no scratching, nothing. And they sit there. The first time they do it for 20 seconds. Then they move again for 10. Then they sit for 30 seconds, freeze. Then they move again, then 45 seconds. All the way up to a minute. And in this, you know, I talk to them after. None of these ideas will work if you don't talk to your kids after you do them. Like even in playing hide and go seek, you got to talk to your kids and talk to them about how it felt to sit still, what it means to sit still. So that's what I talked to them. Well, how did it feel? You know, I saw some of you wanting to scratch your arm. Maybe your arm was itching, or Your face started tingling, but then realizing that none of those things start happening until you say to yourself, I'm going to freeze and don't move, then everything start tingling and everything start itching. But you, in controlling yourself, you chose not to scratch, or you chose not to, you know, tap or whatever you did. How did you do it? And so that's what we talk about. Those are the conversations we have during games like this, where we talk about that. You know, how did it feel? What did you do? What did you think about? Did you think about something else? If you felt itching or tingling, what did you think about so that you didn't scratch it? And so those are the things that we talk about as we are learning to control ourselves, because it's all about teaching our kids to survive and use self-control and use self-regulation. Anyway, that's another thing. So you can use the self-control game. You can find it on this channel, the Demby's teaching tip. I actually have two of them because I do a tempo self-control game where we move our feet to the beat. Move our feet to the beat. And then we freeze. And then we listen again and move our feet to the beat. Or you can use the regular self-control game. Both of them are fun. And my last tip for today is my cloud relaxation. It's on the Demby's Teaching Tip channel. There's a 1 minute and a 2 minute. You know, you got to work your way up to 2 minutes. But anyway, the kids, I give them 20 seconds to run around and get to wherever they getting. As long they sit, sit down, lay down, do whatever you want to do. 20 seconds. And then after that 20 seconds, whenever you see clouds in my classroom, no matter what we're doing, we could be right in the middle of playing the keyboard. If you see clouds on that board, you automatically know that's the time to get quiet. You're sitting still. Or even if you're not sitting still, you are calm. You are sitting with me. Sometimes the kids are just waving their hands, pushing energy around. Sometimes they just, sit still. But I don't hear a sound in my room whenever we have clouds. And that's a routine that we have practiced, and the kids are just in the habit of doing it. Whenever they see clouds, no matter what we're doing, they automatically know we go down and we calm down. We can meditate, or we can just sit quiet. But that's what we do in my room. And so those are some tips that you can use. Hopefully you will use them, especially parents, especially the parents I saw at the restaurant who was letting their children run around. You may need to use them quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to Demby's Teaching Tips. I hope y'all use some of these tips in your classroom or at your houses. Parents, especially that parent, I'm telling you, you need it. Anyway, y'all don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with somebody else. If you know somebody need these tips and somebody having a little trouble with discipline in their classroom, send them to my channel. I could help them. All right, y'all. Live, love, teach. Have a great day.